everybody, welcome back to another edition of 30 Teams in 30 Days here on Inside the Zone with Mateo. So glad you decided to click on this video, and I hope you are entertained. For those who do not know, my name is Mateo. I host all the podcasts here on the channel, and I'm just glad you clicked on it, and again, hope you're entertained. So without further ado, you're probably wondering, well, what is 30 Teams in 30 Days? You're probably a Warriors fan if you clicked on this video, or just a podcast fan, or I don't really know, maybe an NBA fan. But you're probably wondering, what the heck did I click on? Well, let me tell you what you clicked on. 30 Teams in 30 Days is our NBA offseason preview. We're posting one video every single day through the month of June. We normally just do episodes every Tuesday and every Thursday. But since there are 30 teams in the NBA and there are 30 teams in the NBA and 30 days in the month of June, I said, why not do a little off-season preview through the month of June? So one team every single day through the entire month of June. We take a deep dive through each NBA team during June. Today is going to be the one, the only Golden State Warriors. We're going in order of worst record to best record. So we started with the Wizards, we end with the Thunder. It's the Warriors today. Will be the Clippers tomorrow. And you can continue to look at this schedule to see when your favorite team is scheduled, or if they've already gone, you can go ahead and check out that video on the channel. There's also a separate playlist for 30 teams in 30 days. So if you want to just find those certain episodes, you can find those pretty easily by just clicking really Inside the Zone with Mateo. Go to my channel, go to the playlist, and boom, you'll find all those episodes. So without further ado, though, let's get into it. Mateo's Show batting order. For those who don't know what Mateo's Show batting order is, if you're familiar with the channel, you know that we do this every single episode despite whatever topic, we're talking about. It's just a little show roadmap with a sports twist. If you know baseball, batting orders like the lineup. I thought it was pretty clever when I started this a couple years ago. And it's just kind of, gives you a little roadmap to see where this car is rolling, if you will. And it's the same 5 things for 30 teams in 30 days on the batting order. It's how well did they do last year, who they should draft, who they should keep, who they should target, and what is their early ceiling and floor. So we're going to go through each of these things. We'll go through trade ideas. We'll go through previews, recaps. And speaking of recaps, let's get into it. Golden State Warriors, we're going to start with the 2025-2026 season where, yes, we will recap this team, the Golden State Warriors, record players, and I'll just give my overall thoughts on their overall NBA season. One of my favorite players in the league plays on this team, Anthony Edwards, obviously from Minnesota. He's my favorite player, but on this team, my second player, arguably one of the best players, I think, of all time. He's a top 10 NBA player of all time. Steph Curry's on this squad, so I'm excited to talk about this. I know a couple other people that are hopefully tuning in here are going to be happy for this. I know there are a couple Warrior fans in this little community that I've been building. And let's get to the recap here. The record last year, that's the wrong record. Was that? No, that was their record, right? Hold up. Please hold. Yes, it was 37-45. It seems a little low, but nope, it is. They were the 10th seed in the Western Conference. That they did make the play-in tournament. They came close to even making the playoffs, just eventually fell, I believe, to the Trailblazers, the Phoenix Suns. In either way, even if they would have beaten the Suns, I believe they would have been playing the OKC Thunder. And I'm sorry, I love you, Steph, but it's the OKC Thunder. Their top scorer was Brandon Pajemski. We'll get into that and why he was their top scorer in a second. Top assister was Draymond Green. He's still doing it at age, 36 or something like that. Top rebounder was Draymond as well. And entering this draft, they do have the 11th overall pick, which is something it's going to be interesting to talk about here. I think in a loaded draft class, you want some good picks, and pick 11 is pretty decent for how well the Warriors didn't play too good, but they played pretty mediocre, and ending up with the 11th overall pick in this year's draft, I think it's a very good situation for the Golden State Warriors. But we'll talk a little bit about the draft in a few moments. But to go a little bit more on this recap, we will go to the stats. And yes, Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler and really Kristaps Porzingis averaged more points than Brandon Pajemski, but you have to reach a certain games played mark. I believe it's 60 or so games that you have to reach to be eligible to receive these team leaders and all awards in general in the NBA. And so since they were injured, or Kristaps Porzingis, in his case, got traded, didn't play enough games, so they're not going to be credited with that. But we'll still take a look at their stats. In 43 games played, Stephen Curry Was averaging 26.6 points with 3.6 rebounds and 4.7 assists per game. Jimmy Butler in 38 games before tearing his Achilles or ACL, can't remember which one it was. He was averaging 20 points on the dot. Then you got 5.6 rebounds and 4.9 assists. He was having a pretty good start to the season. Unfortunately, his season was indeed cut short. Kristaps Porzingis averaged 16.1 in his 15 games with the Golden State Warriors, and including 5.3 rebounds and 2.3 assists. In that sample size of KP in Golden State. But now we get to the players who have actually played him a bit more. And actually, he played all 82 games. Brendan Podziemski, 82 games, 13.8 points per game. That was good for the best or the team lead with players playing over 60 games or so. He also averaged 5.1 rebounds and 3.7 assists. A really solid year for Brendan Podziemski. I really like Podziemski. I think he's kind of, you either like him or you don't like him, and it's unfortunate that there are players like that. I don't think any player should really have much hate, but I think Podziemski kind of gets that hate, and it's kind of like I've never really understood it. You either love him or hate him. I don't know why. Let me know in the comments if you like Podziemski. I feel like that could be a nice little comments section question. So yeah, let me know. I'll probably say a lot of things for you guys to let me know, because I like to be a little interactive in these things. But yeah, let me know if you like Podziemski or if you don't like him, because I really don't think there's a middle ground here. De'Anthony Melton played 49 games, I believe, majority off the bench, 12.3 points per game, 3.2 rebounds, and 2.6 assists. Moses Moody in 60 games on the dot averaged 12.1 points, 3.3 rebounds, and 1.6 assists. Jonathan Kuminga ended up getting traded, but in 20 games, he averaged 12.1 points a game as well, with 5.9 rebounds and 2.5 assists. And then, Guy Santos, he did play 68 games, so we should highlight him. He averaged 9.2 points a game, 3.9 assists, and 3.9 rebounds and 2.3 assists. Draymond Green, 68 games as well, averaged 8.4 points with 5.5 rebounds and 5.5 assists, which is pretty dang cool. Steph's brother, Seth Curry, in 10 games, 7.1 points, I believe 1.2 rebounds, and 1 assist. Will Richard is another guy I kind of really do like, a bench warmer on that team. He 6.4 points, 2.5 rebounds, yes, and 1.3 assists for Will Richard. The young guard played 69 games, 21 starts for the young guard. But I think that's enough. Al Horford, by the way, yeah, Al Horford, sorry, Buddy Hield, I didn't mention you either. They both averaged about 8 points a game with about, it was a very mediocre season for all of these players. But again, this team is pretty average just, without Curry and Butler. It's a very average team. Obviously, you need stars, and they have stars on an average team, but unfortunately, those stars could not stay healthy. But, we'll see what they do in this offseason to adjust that, because I do think they will be making some moves. Speaking with a couple Warrior fans, they want to make some moves, especially to just kind of give Curry that supporting cast that he needs. I think there's a lot of average dudes here. I think you can get a little bit above average dudes, and obviously figure out what you want to do with Jimmy Butler, because that's a big question entering this offseason. But I think that's where we'll end this first little section here for the recap. The second section we'll go over here is to the draft. We will preview the specific teams' upcoming draft. So in this case, it will be the Golden State Warriors, addressing their biggest need and simulating a mock draft to see who is on the board and who I think they should take. So before we get to the mock draft, let's take a look at their depth chart, because this is what they're looking at here. Obviously, you have Stephen Curry, one of the best shooters, actually the best shooter, I think, in NBA history. He's your point guard. No one's really going to come close to that. Brandon Podziemski can be your backup one guard. But Pat Spencer also, I forgot to mention him a little bit. He, has some ability as the backup point guard. Podziemski's obviously your starting shooting guard. That could be you could upgrade that spot, but I think it's the least of your concern. Obviously, having Gary Payton as your backup is pretty solid as well. Guys, Santos, the three, that is definitely a place that you should consider upgrading. I think Draymond is playing the four right now, but that's all. I mean, I guess the 3-2 is that's where Jimmy Butler comes in. So we'll see what happens over there. Kristaps Porzingis, he will be a free agent. He's your center. So obviously, you need a center. I mean, Al Horford is more of a 4 rather than a 5. And I mean, the depth is just definitely a big concern for the Golden State Warriors, who have dealt with injuries in the past. So really, I think in a way, you almost take just the best player available. I don't see a way unless it's like a not a Giannis trade maybe, or a blockbuster trade. Sorry, I kind of teased something there. Um, I think they keep their pick. I don't think they trade up. I think they're going to be content with pick 11. Again, for having a chance to make the playoffs out of the play-in tournament, having pick 11 is pretty dang valuable. And so I think, yeah, let's start this quick mock draft. We're just going to do one round. Second round, you can decide what you think. AJ Demonsa, Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer go 1, 2, 3. Caleb Wilson goes 4. Kingston Flemings goes 5. Brendan Burries goes 6. Wagler goes 7. Nate Ament jumps up to 8. Akov 9. And Kareem Lopez 10. So Mikel Brown, bro, I don't know how Mikel Brown was able to slide here. And I think it's definitely in between two specific players. I think Mikel Brown, if he falls, you could consider that. But Adai Mara, bro, I don't think I've glazed this guy enough. And, I don't try to glaze people because obviously, and I don't always approve of people glazing people, these college athletes coming out, maybe going to be drafted, most likely going to be drafted in Adai Mara's book here. I don't always approve of that because it's like you're writing something and you just let him develop. But man, this brother might be something special. 7'3" center. He might be the perfect weapon you need to compete against Victor Wembanyama, who's going to be in this league for the next 2 decades, is my guess. Just something like this, bearing some injury. Out of Michigan, bro, this guy is scary. And yes, you're saying, well, Kristaps Porzingis, they brought him in, they traded him. I'm not totally content. I'm not totally content or sold by the idea of bringing Kristaps Porzingis back, because you're already paying a couple of these guys a lot of money. You're paying Steph, obviously, I think like 60 mil. You're paying Jimmy Butler like 58 mil. I don't know if you need to pay another guy $30 to $35 million where you could have the opportunity to develop your own center. They need a center. A center is definitely up on their board. And if he's still here, like, I was kind of shocked that he didn't get picked already. But if he doesn't get picked, I mean, Mikel Brown, sure, you can fall. You can fall to OKC, whatever. Sure, I don't even think OKC is going to have that pick. I think they're going to probably try to trade that pick out because they just don't have enough roster spots. But Adai Mara, I think that is literally probably the best outcome if he falls. If he falls 11, I think the Warriors, you should try it. You should try it. Why not? You could. Well, also, you can't let OKC have a shot at drafting this dude. So also try to save the league just a little bit. And if he continues to fall, imagine if Charlotte gets him. My gosh, like Charlotte needs a center. I know. I think Rudy Gobert might end up over there, but Adai Mara, they're going to take youth over the older massive contract that Gobert brings. I think this is the perfect fit. I think it's the perfect fit for Mara if he does indeed fall. So yeah, I think Mara probably is the best fit, and I think the Warriors should definitely consider taking him at pick 11 if he's still on the board. Let me know, of course, in the comments down below who you think the Warriors should take. I don't believe they have another pick. I don't even know if they have a second round pick. They do have a pick in pick 54, but we're not going to do that. Let's finish out this little mock here. Let's see what OKC trades. They take, Carr. Mikel Brown falls all the way to the Hornets. I wanted to see how far Mikel Brown was going to fall in this mock draft. The 6'5" guard out of Louisville. Very intriguing. Very intriguing. There have been some reports, too. I just want to take that this chance to do so. I forgot who it was. I don't want to offer. Okay, this is not. Oh, no. This is, hold up. This is, we're going to reset. I'm just going to go here to Washington. I forgot which player they said might be falling. Was it Yaxel or I forgot who? There was some reports of a dog that I was high on that they say he might be falling. I think it was Yaxel. So I thought that was interesting, but we'll see. Never mind. Let's stay on track, guys. I can't yap too much. But that's the draft. I think that's probably the best situation. I don't know. Again, I don't know if Adai Mara is still there at pick 11 because there's a couple teams there that I could see passing on some of those guards to take that 7'3" guy, especially if they're thinking, okay, we need somebody to match up Wemby. He could be that next piece to that big picture of trying to stop Victor Wembanyama from taking over the league, even though he kind of has already. Moving on, though, we're going to go to the start of free agency. And here on 30 Teams in 30 Days, we basically split free agency into two separate parts. So there's the first half of free agency where it's kind of the teams where they get to decide who they should keep and who they should let walk from their own free agents. And then the second half is where we have the fun, doing the trades, doing the free agent projections, who I think their top targets may be. But the first half is a little bit more boring. Their own free agents. Here's a look at their own free agents. Porzingis has unrestricted free agent. Draymond has a $27 million player option. Al Horford has a $6 million player option. Gary Payton is an unrestricted free agent. DeAnthony Melton has a player option worth, I believe, 3.5. Yes. Seth Curry's on an unrestricted free agent. That is Steph. Sorry, Seth. I just want to make sure I said Seth. It's not Steph. It's Seth. And then Quinton Post and Pat Spencer, both restricted free agents. So I'm going to grab the pen here. I think Porzingis, if they do take Mara, and I think even if they don't take Mara, I think you don't resign him. Okay. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. I've not really heard much about what the Warriors want to do with Porzingis. But if he's willing to maybe cut his AAV a little, maybe if you can get him for like $20 million a year, maybe. But if he wants 30 or more, because I'm guessing he's going to want more at 31 years old, because he's still a good big to have. He's just, I don't know if I want that big of a salary coming here, especially you're going to have to pay Draymond Green $28 million, or it's $27.7 million at 36 years old for Draymond. I don't know if I want that contract. You just have a lot of big contracts, so I think you might have to just make some of these tough decisions and keep some of these younger guys who are going to make less money. So I don't think you keep Porzingis, but let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Draymond, obviously, you're going to have to. He's going to take that player option. Al Horford, I'm guessing he takes the player option, so I think he'll probably come back. So really, yeah, the youngster is coming back to Golden State, which actually, in a sense, might end up being a little bit better for something down the road, which just stay tuned for now. Gary Payton, he's an unrestricted free agent at 33 years old. I think you could probably let him walk. You could probably, he's replaceable. I really, oh dear. He's replaceable for sure. So, sorry, I just erased everything. I just erased everything. Isn't that amazing? That's so amazing. All right. Please hold. So Draymond, yes. Horford, yes. And then Gary Payton, yeah, I think he is definitely replaceable. You could find somebody for a little cheaper, league minimum. 34 years old. Yeah, I mean, I could see him coming back. He may find his way back to Golden State, but I think right now they don't offer him a contract extension. Maybe toward the end, if he doesn't have a contract already, then they try to bring him back. DeAnthony Melton has a $3.5 million player option. He probably takes that. Seth Curry, I think they come back on a minimum league deal to play with brother Steph Curry. I just think it makes sense. Quinton Post and Pat Spencer, I think both of them come back here on restricted free agents, meaning they're limited to who they can sign with anyway. So I think they're pretty cheap too. I think they're solid. I think Quinton Post, if you do take Mara with pick 11, what if you had this center group of Post and Mara, two over 7 footers, bro? I'm just saying that could be a little scary, and maybe that could be in the plan to try to stop Wemby. Because again, at the end of the day, sure, OKC is going to be good, but Chet, you can defend Chet. Wemby's going to become a problem, especially because he's so young, and really, especially in the Western Conference teams, you got to think, okay, how in the world am I going to stop Victor Wembanyama? The first easy way is getting bigs. So I'd say, that definitely has to be in your back pocket. So that's what I'm thinking here for their own free agents. But now let's get to the fun stuff. We're going to predict, or I'm going to predict here, who I think the Golden State Warriors will pursue, who they will sign and sign by either by the open market or by a trade. So here is a list of my top targets. Yes, Giannis, LeBron, both in question marks because I don't know if it's going to fully work. Giannis is not a free agent. We'll get to him in a second. LeBron is a free agent. However, I don't think you have enough cap space to sign him to a deal. It would have to be a sign and trade. So we will get to that in a second momentarily. But Mitchell Robinson, Robert Williams, Quentin Grimes. These are the free agents that I think you should have on your radar, right? These are free agents. I'm just going to make sure you guys know that. Mitchell Robinson and Robert Williams. This is from the Knicks and from the Portland Trailblazers. They are both centers. Okay, they're both centers. And, as I said, you don't take Kristaps Porzingis back. You let him walk. You need a center. Mitchell Robinson's been playing great in the finals currently. Maybe he's up for a new contract. They can't afford him in New York. They're going to have to extend some other guys. So they let him walk. He becomes now the center for the Golden State Warriors. I could see that. I could also see Robert Williams coming here, shifting his career only just a couple miles down from Portland to San Francisco. And then Quentin Grimes just provides a steady shooting guard depth here. He could probably start over Podziemski, but he could also be your sixth man off the bench, which I wouldn't care. Or you could even slide him to the 3 if you do keep Jimmy Butler and he's just not ready to start the year. So I think either of these guys could be interesting. But obviously, even more intriguing is Giannis and LeBron. They've been linked to the Golden State Warriors really for the last few months. At the trade deadline, there were rumors that Giannis was interested in going to Golden State. And then pairing LeBron with Curry has been an idea that's been circulating all over the internet. And also it's probably through everybody's minds. I think it would be really cool. LeBron has expressed, he said, yes, it would be cool to play with them. I think it would be awesome to see really probably on their farewell tours, 2 of the greatest players in the history of the NBA playing together, trying to compete for a championship in a loaded Western Conference could be interesting. So how exactly could that happen? Well, we're going to go to Fanspo. We're going to talk a little trade talks here as we, probably go here through the rest of the episode just talking about this. Jimmy Butler is going to be that contract that's going to have to be involved either way. And this is the thing. I don't think the team trading away that player is going to want Jimmy Butler, especially coming off the injury. He might not even be ready for opening night. He is going to have to go to a third team. And now let me tell you this. There are about 4 teams that are interested in Jimmy Butler, that they've at least expressed a little interest. So we're going to use some of those teams as a 3-team trade, which I do think could help every team involved. So Jimmy Butler has been a target for a while. He is also going to be an expiring contract, so you're just going to have to pay him $56 million, I believe, for this year, and then you could even just let him walk. You don't even have to extend him, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and it is what it is. So the Milwaukee Bucks, Phoenix Suns, Houston Rockets, Indiana Pacers, and more importantly, Atlanta Hawks have all been reportedly interested in Jimmy Butler. So most likely the Bucks, I think, is the most unrealistic. I don't think they would want him. I think if you would do a Giannis trade, Butler would be put elsewhere. But I like the Suns idea. I like the Rockets. It is actually identified as one of Butler's preferred destinations. But Atlanta has been in the news and the reports more recently. So we're gonna use Atlanta in most of these trades because I think it could be a solid fit. Pairing Jalen Johnson with Jimmy Butler, I think it could be very interesting. So first things first, let's do that, and then we'll add the third team here. We'll do this the same for LeBron and for Giannis because both are semi-realistic. I think I'm leaning more towards LeBron to the Warriors rather than Giannis to the Warriors, just because I think it could be easier. But it both makes sense. So I'm obviously going to try to not give up too much here, but Jimmy Butler goes to the Hawks. The Hawks have a bunch of cap space, so it works. You're going to have to put some players out here, and I think an expiring deal of Jonathan Kuminga could be perfect to send elsewhere. So if we're going to do Giannis first, I put him first on the slide. So we're going to go to the Bucks here. This would have Giannis going to the Warriors, and this actually, everybody's in the green so far. Sounds good. All right, Jonathan Kuminga, a young player that you can build around. The Bucks, they're going to get that, right? That's what they want. Golden State is also going to give you the 27 first-round pick to the Milwaukee Bucks, and they're also going to give them a 2031 first-round pick. And also, don't think Jonathan Kuminga for Jimmy Butler is good enough. There's been reports that Jimmy Butler's trade value is actually pretty high, especially from Atlanta. So I think you could probably find some other good deals. And I think this could be a hot take, but I think they're ready to move on from Zachary Richase. So I think he goes to the Bucks. You get two young forwards. I like this. And then, so basically you're flipping Jimmy Butler for Zachary Richase, Jonathan Kuminga, and I do think you get an additional pick. I think you could do a first-round pick. Atlanta has a couple this year, so maybe the latter, you just trade one of them to the Bucks. The Bucks get an additional pick here in this draft. So just trying to make sure you get this. Hopefully you're making this is making sense. Jimmy Butler gets traded to the Hawks for Jonathan Kuminga, Zachary Richase, and a first-round pick. I think you could do it without the pick, but we're going to throw the pick in because it doesn't really affect salary, so it could be with or without the pick. But then you basically, with the Warriors, you take that package of Kuminga, Richase, and a first, and package together even two more first-round picks of your own, and you give them to Milwaukee for Giannis Antetokounmpo. You try the trade, and of course I exited out. Just of course I would do that. You try the trade. It would be failed just because the Hawks are getting $8 million too much. So this actually is an easy fix. You just need to find $8 million to give really to the Bucks, in my opinion, here, because the Warriors can't take much more salary. So you got to find about $8 million. I think Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield's a perfect fit here. He's a guard, he's a little older guard, so maybe he's valuable. I don't know. Maybe the Bucks then flip him for something else, maybe a second-round pick or something like that. I don't know. But he goes to the Bucks. This just makes the salary work, and I think it's a success. Yes, it is. So, again, it's actually fairly simple because Jimmy Butler's salary matches almost identically to Giannis's salary. But again, you're going to have to do a lot of convincing for the Hawks, who actually have expressed interest in Butler. And I think it does make sense for the Atlanta Hawks as well. We'll talk about the Hawks more later. I don't remember what day they are here in this 30 teams in 30 days. But, for Jimmy Butler, they give up Kuminga, who's an expiring. You give Richase up. Obviously, that's going to hurt a little bit to some people. Buddy Hield, you don't really need. And then a first-round pick, I believe. So let me go to this mock draft here just to see which pick that actually is. Because they have two first-round picks. They have pick 8. And then this would be pick 23. So pick 23, basically, you don't necessarily need that. You get Jimmy Butler, and then if it works, it does, and great. Maybe you are a contender in the East. And by the way, I do think the Hawks are going to be a contender or anything. He's an expiring deal. You just let him walk, and then you have a bunch of money for this next upcoming free agency class, which, by the way, is kind of loaded. Just gotta say, it is kind of loaded. Let me see if I can pull it up here for you guys. 2027 free agency. It's interesting because there are guys that could maybe decline player options, team options. Guys like Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, and then Austin Reeves, VJ Edgecombe, right? A lot of younger players that are going to need new contracts. And then also, Atlanta is going to have to pay some of their younger guys. So I think it could be a win-win. And then, by the way, 2028, you want to save money for the 2028 free agency class, I'm pretty sure. Because, yeah, Donovan Mitchell is a full free agent there. And just so many other young guys that it could get interesting. I'm not going to pull it up actually for you guys, but saving money for later free agency classes could be interesting and it could be a good idea. But I think overall, this trade's a really solid trade. But now let's see. Now let's see what we could do with the Lakers. Excuse me, I just blanked on their team. Okay, because this would be LeBron, and I'm gonna try to figure out how to do this because he's technically a free agent, right? So he's a free agent. So basically, this is what we're gonna do. Why can't they sign LeBron, brother? So we're gonna try to sign a free agent. Steph is not. Hold up. Oh, perfect. I found the sign and trade. Perfect. I found the sign and trade because so you'd give him a standard contract, 1 year contract, because that's what he's gonna want. This is gonna be his last year, most likely. 35 is the recommended salary. I think he's gonna want something like 45. To be honest, let's just do like 43.5 or something. Save. It's going to be a sign and trade. So we can save it. It's saved. And now what you can do is you can send him to the Warriors, right? So that everything works out good. And then again, I think in return for LeBron, in a way, you might not have to give up too much here. Okay, so I actually got to think about this. I didn't like you need something. Obviously, you're getting rid of LeBron, but not really because I don't think LeBron's. I'm trying. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud too much. Let me explain what's going on in my head. I think Jonathan Kuminga, obviously, just to go to the Lakers kind of makes sense here. But by the way, I just want to see where we're at with the money. Where we're at with the money here. $25 million. $25 million. The Hawks need to get rid of. Yeah, this is a thing. Dyson Daniels. Do they move on from Dyson Daniels? The Dyson Daniels experiment kind of utterly failed. And obviously, by the way, I just want to make sure, I don't think I said this yet. These deals are not meant to be exactly realistic. It's just trying to get us an idea of what could happen. Basically, Kuminga would be going out. He'd be going, we gave him to the Lakers. I think that's a good fit. You're building around Luka now. Do they have a center? Because if there's one thing they're missing as a center, the Lakers are missing a center. Yeah, Okongwu. I like Okongwu, and I think they want to probably keep Okongwu. Maybe they do the Richase. Like, is that crazy? Is that crazy? Richase and Buddy Hield. Maybe it's the same package just without the pick. LeBron getting traded for Richase, Kuminga, and Buddy Hield. I mean, we got to remember, it's also LeBron. It's also LeBron. This probably would work financially. Everybody's good. LeBron's sign and trade needs to be more than one. Okay, this wouldn't. We're going to modify it. You can do a whatever. We're just going to do a 3. I don't care. We're going to do a 3-year whatever sign and trade just because it's not working because it's not saying. It's not. You can do a sign and trade, though, with a 1-year deal. So this is what would happen. This is a success. The Warriors would end up with LeBron James. They would basically only give up Jimmy Butler. I do think you would probably have to give up. I don't know if you have to give up first, though. Literally because LeBron, if he says, I don't want to play with the Lakers and I want to play with the Warriors, they are almost forced to do a sign and trade because he's going to have that freedom. He's LeBron freaking James. And then the Hawks, again, get Jimmy Butler. They give up that. They don't even give up a pick. And I think the Lakers actually, in a sense, get better than the Warriors pair up Steph and LeBron. So I think, again, there's options. There are options with those two names. I didn't see any other Warriors rumors. Let me look up some Warriors trade rumors here just to make sure I didn't miss anything major. Klay Thompson does want to come back. Like, I would not be surprised. Oh, that's right. Kawhi has also been in the news. Yeah. Let's do Kawhi too. Let's do Kawhi. We'll work with Kawhi and then we'll be done here. I don't want to keep y'all too long. But Kawhi also kind of same. He's actually a 1-year deal, so you again might not have to give up too much. He would go to the Warriors. Obviously, Jimmy Butler would go there, and then actually, yeah, Jonathan Kuminga. I actually like the fit. Jonathan Kuminga and Darius Garland. I kind of like that a lot. And then I think again, Reece Shea would have to be in there. And then can you do it without Buddy Hield? It's just because the Hawks need to get rid of that money. That makes sense. Buddy Hield goes. So yeah, we found a nice little package here. I think you could consider put it like the Warriors, give the Clippers a pick, whatever. Sure, Kawhi's was having a career year last year, and again, look how easy it is with Jimmy Butler's salary. You can almost do any trade, and the Hawks. I mean, I think the Hawks will help them, or if not, another team. So again, really list any superstar on the trade block, possibly maybe an Anthony Davis. I don't know, Giannis. Not Kyrie. Kyrie. I don't think they have a point guard. They don't need Kyrie. Anthony Davis, LeBron, Giannis, any of these guys, Kawhi, you have the opportunity to do it. So maybe the Jimmy Butler injury was a blessing in disguise. Am I saying that? Is that crazy? Because everybody was saying, no, bro, like, why did he get injured? But now people are saying maybe you just move on from him, give him another shot somewhere else. He's an expiring deal. We don't need to pay him $60 million next year. I don't know, bro. I think there's a lot of talks happening. Obviously, I think you're not in rebuild mode yet. I think you wait to rebuild till Steph Curry is done because you need to try to get Steph another ring here, and I'm all for that. But let me know what trade you think the Golden State Warriors should do here in the offseason, or if they should do any trades whatsoever. Again, they have so much money here in the first apron, tax space, and all that stuff, so they have the opportunity to sign some of these players as well. That I have, Mitchell Robinson, Robert Williams, Quinn Grimes. I think they can get at least one, maybe two of those players, especially if they don't re-sign Kristaps Porzingis. But anyway, I think it was a pretty fun episode today. I don't know about you. If you guys like this video, hit that like button, subscribe button. We got one more thing though. Ceiling and floor. Yes, I changed. You guys were complaining about the phrase. It was current ceiling and floor. Now it's just ceiling and floor. There's going to be 2 bullet points. It's going to say without the moves I make and with the moves I make. It's going to give you a ceiling for the Golden State Warriors, and bam, there it is. Without the moves I made, and they keep their team relatively the same. They keep Jimmy Butler. Maybe they make one free agent move. I don't know. I think this team is probably a play-in exit just in a loaded Western Conference. However, if they do make some of these moves, maybe they draft Mara, maybe they leave. They let Kristaps Porzingis walk and draft Mara if he's available, and maybe they make him trade for Giannis or Kawhi or LeBron. I think they could win a series. I really do think they could win a series next year with definitely a chance for more because you cannot count out Steph Curry and potentially another all-time great in the history of the NBA if that is indeed what they're going to do. So I think they have a ton of potential. There's a lot of excitement around this Golden State Warriors team. Obviously, I'm a Timberwolves fan, but I like the Warriors a lot. Come on, Steph. Get another wing. Sorry, not a wing. What the heck? Oh, my gosh, bro. Why did I say a ring? A wing. It's a ring. Get another ring. My gosh, Steph. I'm sorry. Greatest shooter of all time. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, again, please hit that like button and subscribe button. Turn the notification bell button on so you never miss any episodes here because we got a brand new team tomorrow. And after this 30 teams in 30 days, we'll resume our normal content covering Minnesota sports and all things sports related. Episodes drop every Tuesday and Thursday. We got shorts, we got live streams, we got Kingdom competitors, we got so much going on. Appreciate you guys for watching. Tomorrow, we've got the Los Angeles Clippers. So, hey, Kawhi. Well, Kawhi. We just did a trade with you. We'll do more. We'll talk about the Clippers. We'll talk about their future and so much more. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, don't forget to keep God first because he's the most important thing in your lives. And I'll see you guys all in the next one. Have a great day. Peace.